Support for Radio Friends comes from OsteoStrong. Improvements in bone density, strength, and power can be achieved by weekly 5-minute no-sweat sessions on their 4-Spectrum machines. These isometric robotic machines safely emulate high-impact loading on different parts of the skeletal system, which stimulates activity in bone-building cells. Balance and agility can be improved by 2-minute sessions on vibration plates. Every session is supervised by a trained coach. Learn more on Facebook or call to set up a complimentary wellness assessment and session. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, August the 26th. We're going to talk a little bit about a project today that's part of KBIA. It's headed up by Erin Hay, Rebecca Smith, and
one of our now graduated students, Xander Trimis.
Yeah, you probably recognize the voice over here, Rebecca Smith. It's called The Way Home. What is The Way Home?
Yeah, so, Paul, I mean, we've talked before about other projects that Erin and I have worked on with student journalists that really seek to empower people from impacted groups with unique experiences to kind of share those stories. You know, we did The Obvious Question, which was about life with a disability, and, you know, the host was a disabled journalist. And so this was kind of an extension of that, where a student who I had in one of my lower level journalism classes that I teach approached me and had this unique story and unique experience of being a non-traditional student because they served in the military. And it was at this point that I had to realize that I was really ignorant of a lot of things that had to do with leaving the military. At that point, I would have said that there were 3 types of ways to leave the military: honorable discharge, dishonorable, and traitor. But it turns out there's so much more than that. And this student, Xander Trimis, really wanted to be able to share the challenges of what it was like to reintegrate to civilian life after leaving the military, you know, mental health, education, and all these things.
Oh,
and
it's
really,
a totally different life.
It's totally different life.
Different. You know, you have to live by that discipline of the military. And then you come out of the military and, wait a minute.
Exactly.
I can make some of my own decisions here.
Exactly. And so Xander really wanted to use this podcast, The Way Home, as a way to educate people who didn't know a lot and also really show other veterans who may be struggling, you know, the way home.
So how do we hear the program?
Yeah, so the program is still working towards completion. We've got our last interview this week where, excitingly, we've handed off our hosting duties to 2 female veterans to talk about those unique challenges. But we're in the final production days. Erin and I are working hard on the podcast. And so we'll have it polished up and we'll hear it both on the air on KBIA, and it'll be available wherever people get their podcast once it's done and once we release it.
Do you have any idea when that will be?
The plan is September, so really getting it out there kind of as the school year starts, you know, before we go into some of our veteran holidays in the fall.
Will it all be airing on KBIA or only a portion of it?
We're not totally sure yet, but we know there'll at least be excerpts of the show, things that last, you know, 4 minutes, like a typical length story, but there may be longer pieces on the air.
But you just keep listening to KBIA. 91.3 FM, and you'll be hearing information about The Way Home, and then you can listen to the whole thing on podcast.
Exactly.
Rebecca Smith, thank you so much for coming by.
Of course, Paul, thanks so much.
And thank you for all the hard work that you and Erin put into to the project.
We love getting to do things like this and working with journalism students and trying new things. That's what journalism's all about.
All right, now I want to introduce you to a guy who hadn't been with us for many, many years, Mike Burden. Good to have you back again, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
And you were here representing the New Youth Mountain Bike Team. What is that?
That's right. So we're the Como Composite Raptors.
Caca!
That's our call. So we're a team that's made up of anybody in the community, 6th grade through 12th grade. So it doesn't matter what school you go to.
So it's young people.
Yep, young people. There are 23 teams around the state of Missouri this year, and about 400 student athletes.
And so what are you doing?
So we are learning how to ride bikes, and learn how to ride bikes really well and safely as fast as we can in the woods. So it's cross-country mountain biking. So basically what that is riding on a single track, which is a pathway that's just about as wide for one bike. If you've hiked out at Rock Bridge or maybe at Cosmo Park on Rhett's Run, those are the kind of trails that we ride on.
So your goal is to ride on trails, not pavement.
That's correct. Yep.
Now, what is the main difference in the bike that you're riding? Can a mountain bike ride safely on pavement,
Oh, sure.
but
Yeah.
a bike that was designed for pavement cannot really ride very well on the mountain terrain.
It'd be more challenging. It's certainly not impossible, but the mountain bikes have, some cushionings through shocks, a little bit wider tires. You can run a little lower tire pressure, so you've got more ability to absorb the bumps and the roots and the rocks that we ride over. So there's definitely an advantage to having a mountain bike.
So what is the first thing that you teach the kids about mountain bike riding, safety-wise?
Braking. You have to be able to stop effectively. We have a lot of kids that come to us with experience already, but we have everybody start at the same place, which is practicing the skills that we're going to use in the woods, in the grass. So we spend a lot of time drilling cornering, stopping, climbing techniques, how to weave through tight switchbacks. But before we're doing that between two really narrow trees, we practice it with cones in the grass so that we know everybody's got the skills that they're ready to ride in the woods.
Do you find that some of the kids want to go a little bit faster than what is safe to do?
Maybe a little bit of that, but we really try to talk about riding within one's limits, and we try and model that as well. And build up to that pace. And we divide our groups sort of according to ability, so that you don't have a sixth grader who's new to the sport trying to keep up with a senior in high school who's very experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So that way everybody's riding at their own pace. And it's a really supportive and inclusive environment. You don't need to have any experience to come ride with us. And in fact, we welcome anyone to come out and try it for a few practices, and if they like it, then they can stick with it.
Okay, you say, somebody just tuned in. We're talking about youth here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not talking about adults, anyone who's an adult to come out.
That's correct, but we do have, we need several coaches, so we have about 20 coaches on our team, and the reason why we have so many coaches is, one, because it's fun to ride with the kids, number one, and two, we need a ratio of 2 coaches for every 8 student athletes when we're riding in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That way we have a ride leader and a sweep riding at the end, just to make sure everybody's safe, and so that we're following all the best protocols to make sure we're having a good time, going fast, but most of all, staying safe.
So if somebody listening wants to become a coach, what do they need to do? If they just want to be able to do this mountain bike riding,
yeah,
and they want to be a coach, do they have to have any special training?
They do, and it's all through the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, or NICA, and they have a great training program. So first aid certification, CPR certification, and just really a willingness to work with kids. You have to go through some typical things like a background check and some online trainings, but it's really pretty painless, and it's really actually a great training program. So
okay, so what do they need to do if they want to be a part of this?
Yeah, so they can reach out to us. So we have an email account. It's comomtbinfo@gmail.com.
Okay,
Follow
a little
us
bit
on
slower. Como MTB Info.
Mm-hmm. And they can find us on Facebook as well, or just Googling the Missouri mountain biking, and they'll find us.
Okay, Mike Burton, thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks so much.
All right, have yourself a nice day. Bye-bye.